Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Grow Folds, and today will be big box store plant shopping at Home Depot in McKinney, Texas. This is the one off of Custer Road. As always, please press the thumbs up or like button for this video. It definitely helps push this content out to more plant lovers like yourself. And also give me a follow on Instagram at Grow Folds is my handle. If you have any questions about the plants that I feature, welcome to the channel. I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. My name is Richie, and today we will be doing an exciting episode where I go big box store plant shopping at this particular Home Depot. I haven't been to this Home Depot in a while, and I know that I've been doing a lot of big box store plant shopping at Lowe's. So we're going to mix it up a little bit and take a look at some of the plants that we have at Home Depot. It is a late afternoon excursion. It's about 6 o'clock when I went plant shopping, and I'm going to be looking at plants that are typically grown as outdoor plants but can be adaptable as house plants. We'll also look at Proven Winners Leafjoy Plants. So we're going to see what they have available. You can see right here we do have some bougainvilleas and vinca flowers. It is the heat of summer in Texas, although things have been a little bit more mild, which I'm really thankful for. But before we get into the actual shopping, I did want to talk about Classy Rabbit soil. Please do not swipe away from this video because I definitely wanted to talk about Classy Rabbit soil. This is one of the best soil substrates I've ever used. Classy Rabbit soil is a local small business based out in, you guessed it, McKinney, Texas. This is an amazing soil. It is a complete soil created by farmers, so it wasn't made by soil scientists or whatever that means. These were this soil was actually created by farmers, so they know exactly what Mother Nature has to offer in terms of a soil substrate. It is a complete soil in the sense that you don't necessarily have to add like extra perlite, orchid bark, etc., with some of the more conventional potting soils that we will find at big box stores. As you can see right here, plant foldies, I am potting up a golden powder Aglaonema that I bought from, you guessed it, Peta's Planters, which is another local small business based out in Dallas, Texas. So can you guys see the common denominator in terms of me and local and small businesses? Definitely want to support small businesses out in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, which is where I am based at. But as you can see right here, Classy Rabbit soil is super chunky. It has some amazing ingredients which are 100% naturally sourced. So it has ingredients such as rabbit manure, which is the main component of the soil. I always ask people, have you pooped on your plants today? Because if you haven't, you definitely need to be pooping on your plants with Classy Rabbit soil. It also has composted food waste, rice hulls, pumice, and natural mycorrhizae, which help develop the roots and give it a more established root system for the plant to push out amazing growth. And you can see right here is an example of how fast draining the soil is. Whenever we are always talking about like plant care tips, what soil substrates we use, we always talk about fast draining, and Classy Rabbit soil is super fast draining, but that doesn't mean that it's not moisture retentive. It definitely is, especially for my plants that I get from overseas. I see a lot more higher success rate in the acclimation period for plants to recover from some of the stresses of traveling overseas. But as you can see right here, if you haven't already, plant foldies, please shop classyrabbit.com. Definitely consider pooping on your plants if you haven't already. I poop on my plants all the time, and I am super proud of it. I would ask you, when's the last time you pooped on your plants? Because if you haven't, go to classyrabbit.com. Definitely try this soil out. It is amazing. And shout out to all of the plant foldies that have given this product a chance. I appreciate you guys so much. Now, going back to the main scheduled programming, you can see right here, plant foldies. I am just walking through to the garden center, and I did want to show you a couple of seeds. So it is the heat of summer, and oftentimes people will say that it is a little bit too late to grow seeds, but I definitely want to try to grow some more plants from seeds. So I'm going to show you a couple of the seeds I want to grow. And those that are actually new to the YouTube channel, I also document and cover my journey of raising baby chickens. I have a barred rock hen as well as a Rhode Island red, which I hope will end up laying eggs in the next 9 weeks. So I'm going to be growing some peppers and some other vegetables that I could feed them, because I really want to make sure that I'm feeding my baby chickens I guess, food that is not really processed. I want to make sure that I know exactly what I'm feeding my pets. Some people will say they're only baby chickens or they're just chickens. We consume chickens. But to me, Charlotte and Catriona are very special in a sense that I want to make sure that I am giving them the best food. So I will be growing some more plants from seed. But as you can see right here, just like Lowe's locations in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, it looks like the Dallas-Fort Worth area Home Depots are also getting restocked with plants. You already know I love talking about Croton petras. What a beautiful plant. This plant is often marketed as a house plant, but truthfully, it is a plant that is better suited for outdoor conditions, specifically in full sun because they like a lot of light. You can see that it has so many beautiful colors. What's interesting about Croton petra is though during the fall season is when we see more of that, which is really not something that makes sense because that plant likes to be in hot, humid environments, not a cool fall season. Now over here, we can see we have some Vigoro hanging baskets. So golden pothos for $19.98. We talk about plants that are easy care, something I would recommend, something that I know for a fact, anybody that is going to be growing houseplants indoors, please get yourself a pothos plant. So as I've done more shopping videos featuring plants, I'm going to be a little bit more transparent, a little bit more blunt and straightforward about the plants I truly believe you should be growing in your plant collections. Whether you are somebody that collects rare variegated plants, I still think that there's room for a pothos plant. Here we have for $14.98 in Aglaonema Silver Bay. This one is another plant by Vigoro Plants. This one has several plants, so if you are looking to propagate or get a lot of plants for the price of one, you can always look for plants that have multiple shoots, multiple growth points to where you can separate the plant. Aglaonema are known for that, and this one is one of my favorites. And then as I pan around over here, you can see we've got some Sansevieria for $7.98. Sansevieria are very low-key, low-maintenance plants. These ones are a pretty good value. $7.98 is not a bad price for a Sansevieria, and I love the fact that they're easy to maintain. I like to bottom water them, so what I like to do is get a dish of or a bowl with water and then just put the actual plant with the drainage holes on that place and let the water absorb into the soil. You don't really want to get the top of a Sansevieria wet because if the water stays on it, it's kind of like a succulent, it'll rot away the foliage. So Sansevieria tend to be more so on the drier side. They like to be more on the drier side. Don't let them stay too dry completely, because then you will encourage what you call root rot, where the roots become not so dry that they are not viable and they're just dry rot is what it means. I like Sansevierias. The one way to really send these plants quickly to plant heaven is just overwatering. So if you're an overwaterer, just make sure you put Sansevieria in a terracotta planter, fast draining soil that doesn't hold as much moisture, and you should be good to go. Hoya carnosa, $14.98. This one is another 6-inch planter by Vigoro Plants. You can see that there are a lot of great plant finds even at Home Depot. You know, oftentimes I go to Lowe's to go plant shopping, but Home Depot, whenever you mix it up a little bit, you'll find that there's some value added plants. Really like the look of Hoya carnosa, especially when it is highly variegated like this. Hoyas are very forgiving plants. I say that in all my videos that I feature Hoyas, which is pretty much every single plant shopping video. I haven't become a Hoya head. I do appreciate them in the fact that they are super forgiving, and we need plants that will give us grace. It's kind of like the same thing when it comes to just how critical we could be of ourselves. Sometimes just having that grace to understand that we are not perfect. We make mistakes. It is okay to not be okay. I think that giving ourselves grace is some of the best self-care that you can give. I know that yesterday I did not have the best day, to be honest. When I was actually editing this video, I just didn't have the best day, but I had to give myself grace in a sense that I needed to slow down, practice mindfulness and really just focus on something positive. And I'm hoping that a lot of these plant shopping videos will inspire people to really just think about self-care, because self-care is definitely the best care you can give yourself. And, you know, when you think about taking care of others, I say unless you are fully taking care of yourself, it makes it a little bit more challenging to take care of others. So I really encourage people to give yourselves grace, to be forgiving of yourself, to surround yourself in positive vibes, good vibes only. And really, that's some of the messaging that I want to give throughout my plant shopping videos as we look at a lot of these beautiful plants. I mean, I'm super excited at the fact that I was able to walk into another restock at Home Depot. You know, Lowe's has been getting a lot of restocks, and I'm super excited because on Tuesdays, I'm able to travel around the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It is one of my days where I am able to freely roam around and check out some of the Lowe's locations, big box stores, and just find places to film beautiful plants like this. You can see right here, this is another Hoya canosa for $14.98. Plant foldies, if you are a Hoya head or if you love Hoyas, let me know in the comment section what Hoya varieties you're growing, your plant care tips, because I always say that a lot of my knowledge around plants not only is something that I learned from my grandmother through experience growing plants, but through the plant foldies. I love the fact that you guys will listen, engage in my content, and even take that minute to just type up a comment, press comment or send, and give me some insights on plant care tips. I've learned so much from you guys, and I appreciate that as well. And you can see right over here, we've got some desert rose. Really like the look of desert rose, and I'm thinking about getting a desert rose and actually making it into a bonsai. For those that don't know, I have become an affiliate program for the bonsai supply. They sent me a bunch of products that I still have to create an affiliate video to promote the bonsai supply soil. If you like fast draining soil aside from Classy Rabbit, the bonsai supply is a really good soil substrate that you can use specifically for your cactus and succulents. Now we are looking at some massive Aglaonema silver base. So these are for $29.98. And truth be told, plant foldies, I've been talking about getting a massive Aglaonema silver bay, and today is the day I'm going to get one. I have held off from buying an Aglaonema silver bay, but as I mentioned in a lot of my plant shopping videos, pretty much every single video honestly is if you're going to buy plants, buy it when the plant is actually restocked or the big box store has actually received the shipment, because these plants have just recently traveled from their nursery, meaning that they are probably in the best health that they will be, making it into a big boxer. So for $29.98, I do not mind getting an Aglaonema silver bay, also known as a Chinese evergreen. This is one of the most beautiful, basic, underrated, overlooked plants, and I am so confused. I'm really confused why people are not running to buy these gorgeous plants. I mean, if you look at that foliage, look at how massive it is, look at that metallic shine, look at that silver foliage, just look at the multiple plants you get for $29.98. I'm having a little bit of trouble looking at which plant I want to get because each one has a lot of plants already. So whenever you're shopping for a specific plant like an Aglaonema, what you want to do is look at the fullness of the plant. So you want to see if there's a lot of foliage at the bottom or the base of the plant, because then it's not as leggy. And you also want to look for leaves. If you're going to have a selection, you want to be super critical. So if you see leaves with a little bit of browning, if you see damaged leaves, that kind of takes it out of the running. So that's what I'm looking for in terms of these Aglaonema. So I've taken all three of them down. All of them are really good specimens. So I will ask the plant foldies, hashtag popularize Aglaonema. Please let me know in the comment section if you would get this one, the one in the middle, or the first one. I'm really having a tough time, but I already know, and that's when you know that you need to buy a plant today, is that I am set on buying a plant because, number one, the plant fits my budget. I give myself about a $30, maybe max $40 plant budget shopping expense. And then number two, I am always in the hunt for Aglaonemas. I've talked about getting an Aglaonema Aglaonema Silver Bay in some of my big box or plant shopping videos, specifically when I go to a Home Depot, because I feel like Home Depot offers massive sizes of Aglaonema Silver Bay, Aglaonema Golden Bay, and also Aglaonema Nicole for that price. So I actually ended up putting these Aglaonema on a table just so I can examine the plant and see which one has legginess in a sense that if there are some leaves that are missing from the bottom, which is not a deal breaker, because Aglaonema, it's kind of like Dieffenbachia where they kind of get leggy as they mature, but I want one that is super full. If I really wanted to take this Aglaonema, I could probably separate it into maybe 6 or 7 plants. That's how many shoots these Aglaonema have. So really beautiful specimen. And you can see right here, we've got some Alocasia, Regal Shield. Really love the undersides of this particular Alocasia. But as you notice with Alocasias, I try not to really encourage Alocasias unless you have humid environment, and that's really hard to replicate indoors unless you're using humidifiers. And even with me, I have wooden floors, and I just am a little bit cautious about really recommending humidifiers in a home because you don't want to create warping for wooden floors and then also creating mold just with the humid environment. So Alocasias, they're not really necessarily for me. I have a couple. I was really getting gung-ho about them because I was growing them in Lechuza Pond, but I've kind of slowed down a little bit on Alocasias. And then you can see right here, Aglaonema Golden Bay plus Aglaonema Nicole. I recently got a Aglaonema Nicole not too long ago, and it's still doing very well, but I could also get a second one. Aglaonemas are the type of plants that for me, I am just really in love with, and I don't mind having multiples of them. So plant fold these in the comment section. Again, let me know in the comment section if you have certain plants that you don't mind having multiples of. Please leave that in the comment section below. And I'm just gonna walk around here and just show you some more specimens. You can see right here, Tradescanthia Sabrina, beautiful plant for $12.98 in a hanging basket by Vigoro Plants. So all of the plants I'm showing you today are going to be value budget friendly plants. We are going to delve into plants that typically are grown outdoors but can be adaptable as an indoor house plant. So stay tuned for that. And then I'm also going to feature a lot of the Proven Winner plants as well at this Home Depot location. We're looking at some Proven Winners Leafjoy H2O bowls. Now, these are originally $19.98, but I got lucky to walk into a Home Depot that has these for 50% off. So if you're looking for a beautiful plant that is literally growing in water, or what you call hydroponics, you can get the H2O leaf bowl. They make them very less stress in terms of watering because they are consistently getting watering. The roots have actually adapted to become more aquatic or hydroponic type roots. That's the thing about plants. What people don't understand is there are different types of root systems. So most plants actually have what you call soil roots, roots that are for soil substrates. But then if you are getting plants that the roots convert into what you call water roots, those roots can live in water. And then what you have also semi-hydroponic substrates where it is submerged with water, and a very loose semi-hydroponic substrate such as leca or lechuza pond. Then the roots are kind of like in the middle of soil roots and straight water roots. So things to just kind of consider. But I do like the H2O bowls by Proven Winners Leafjoy series. I also like Proven Winners Leafjoy littles like this. These are for $5.98. Someday I hope that I'll be able to do a collaboration video with Proven Winners Leafjoy because I absolutely love their plants. I do think that Proven Winners, aside from their Proven Winners garden outdoor plants, they just have an amazing selection of indoor tropical plants that you can get. I mean, a lot of their Hoyas, for instance, I would say Proven Winners Leafjoy actually has quite a bit of Hoya hybrids. And I find it really interesting that they really do have a way of displaying their plants. I would say Proven Winners Leafjoy is the first nursery, or at least big box store nursery, that has terrariums, custom made, ready to go terrariums. So you can see that they have these available at Home Depot. I am tempted to buy a terrarium, but the thing about terrariums is what people don't realize is that there is a little bit of maintenance when it comes to terrariums. You just don't just grab a terrarium and think that it will just grow. You have to trim back the foliage. You have to put a little bit of water in there. There is a little bit more maintenance. And then also with terrariums, you have to understand that there is a certain lighting condition that you still have to provide for the plant. But it is a nice, presentation by Proven Winners Leafjoy. So I would recommend trying a terrarium for Proven Winners. And then you can see right here, Cordyline Hawaiian tea plant. This one is massive. And you can see as Cordyline Hawaiian tea plants mature, they get a woody type texture to their trunk. I've seen those actually growing in the wild in the Philippines, and they were just massive, almost tree-like plants. So you can see right over here, Cordyline Hawaiian tea plants. Those are plants that can be adaptable as an indoor house plant, but really the maintenance is a little bit more challenging when you bring them indoors. So I recommend growing them outdoors. More Aglaonema Golden Bay for $29.98. So I'm going to pan around here and show you the beautiful foliage. I have 4 of these massive Aglaonema, but I don't mind adding another one in my plant collection. Let me know in the comment section, Plant Foldies, what you think. If you think this is budget friendly, cost effective, a plant that you feel like is going to save you money in terms of whether you're choosing a rare plant or an easy to care for, beginner friendly plant like this. I love Aglaonema Golden Bay. I'd like your insights on it specifically. So if you can take the time and put the timestamp on it, let me know. And one thing I did want to show you is notice how this Aglaonema actually has some pollinated seeds. So you can see that it's green right now, but a fully mature, ready to go seed of an Aglaonema would be red. And it's kind of like berries. It does take a while for the plant, and it even takes a little bit longer for a Aglaonema seed to actually germinate. I am in the midst of trying to hybridize an Aglaonema because someday I would like to create my own Aglaonema hybrid, and I want to name it Aglaonema Lola Belen, which means in Tagalog, Aglaonema Grandmother Belen, to name after my amazing 90-year-old grandmother who is living, thriving, super healthy, and is one of the biggest inspirations in my life. I also wanted to say, for the plant foldies that are engaged in watching my videos, thank you, thank you, thank you for giving my grandmother prayers, kindness, support, encouragement for her to continue to get up every day and take care of her plants and her mental and physical well-being. And this community has really gotten her excited. Feel free to continue to leave messages for her, because you know what, she does read the comments in the comments section of all my videos. She just doesn't have the time or really knows how to get on the live premiere chats. We'll get that figured out for her, but she does read the comments, and they are very thoughtful, positive, and inspiring. And that's why I always say, if you ever consider leaving a negative comment, something that's toxic, something that is not value added in terms of constructive feedback, I always say refrain from it, because whenever somebody takes the time to fabricate a negative, negative opinion, negative act, I always want you to reflect and think, was that number one necessarily? And would you actually say something negative like that toward your family, your grandmother, your mother, your sister, your brother, your father, your cousins? And sometimes I feel like people who are what you call silent keyboard warriors don't realize that the impact that they have for just putting something negative, whether it's online, which is typically how people act, is it's easier for somebody to hide behind an online presence versus telling somebody that in real life. Would you actually do that? Would you allow somebody that you love to read something like that that's negative? So, I mentioned this in a lot of my plant shopping videos. I will talk about big box or plant shopping videos in terms of the plant care, plant pricing, plant insights, plant commentary. But a lot of my content is also going to just continue to delve on my campaign about positive social media presence. And I hope that for those that have perhaps made a mistake and been negative in the past, I just really hope that people will reflect on the actions that they do toward each other, because I do believe that kindness is free. Kindness is what we need to be doing on a daily basis. Every second of the day, we should be thinking about how can we make somebody's life better, in a sense of how do we exude that kindness. So I'm going to get off my soapbox a little bit, but you already know, for the plant folies that truly appreciate my most authentic self, you guys are listening and really executing my call to action for that. So as you can see right here, plant folies, now we are looking at the Proven Winners Leafjoy Plants. Home Depot just really has a great selection of Proven Winner Leafjoy Plants. And you know what? For $14.98, typically these 6-inch Proven Winner planters that are in these little these basket containers are $29.98. So again, it is on 50% off, and I am looking at some plants here. This one is a Ficus benjamina variegata. You can see that this does have a different name for the Proven Winner plants. This is a beautiful plant, but it does require quite a bit of light. It does not like to be underwatered, because if it is, it will definitely shed its leaves and lose it very quickly. And then you can see right here, it is on sale. So you will find that houseplants at Home Depot are on sale right now, at least in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Ficus elastica ruby. This is one that I'm going to tell you, this is going to be an impulse buy. I did not expect to buy this, but look at how beautiful the leaves are, and look at how tall this specimen it is. So you can already see that this plant has been growing to the point where they had to put this plant on the ground for support. What I want to do with this Ficus elastica ruby, I am going to impulse buy today. I'm going to allow myself to do that. I'm going to give myself a little bit of grace, is that I am probably going to use the bonsai supply wire. So I'm going to use some plant wire to kind of bend and twist its trunk to give it a little bit more of a shape. And then I'm going to grow this outside, outdoors in full sun. A lot of my Ficus elastica or rubber tree plants are growing in full sun. It makes it easier for them to push out a lot of new growth. I'm actually thinking about showing you an update of my Ficus shivriana that I remember getting years back as a 2-inch starter planter from the Green Escape, which is a Etsy plant shop that I bought. That was when Ficus shivriana was super expensive, and now I still have it years later, and it's just put on so much growth this growing season because I put it outdoors. Over here, we have another beautiful philodendron black cardinal. I mean, take a look at how massive this is. Now, this one is not on sale. This one is for $19.98, but if it was 50% off, this would be another plant. And this is another example of how we get ourselves in a bind slightly with impulse buys, because then we find a plant that's on sale. We get a good deal at a big box store, and we feel like we have to buy the plant. But this is such a beautiful philodendron. I love dark foliage philodendrons. I often think of my really good friend Steven of I Lift Plants. If you have not gone to his YouTube channel, he's been producing some amazing content. Please check out I Lift Plants on YouTube. He loves philodendrons, and whenever I see a dark foliage one like this, I think of Steven. And speaking of Steven and Janae Simone of Janae Simone, my Cultivation Corner plant podcast co-host, plant foldies. I'm having a hard time speaking today. or what you call the cultivators. Season 3 is going to be delayed a little bit just because of our schedules not aligning. We are all very, very busy, and we want to make sure that we give you a quality season. We have a bunch of really good guests that we want to schedule. Let's just say we've got some big name plant influencers, content creators from YouTube that we're going to put on the plant podcast. Actually, Plant Foldies, I will ask, please put in the comment section, who do you think of all your plant YouTubers, content creators will be on Cultivation Corner Season 3 when it actually gets filmed and debuts. It is unfortunately going to be delayed a little bit, so please be patient with us, but leave that in the comment section below. And I'm just going to keep picking up some beautiful Proven Winner Leafjoy plants. I do ask if anybody is following Proven Winners Leafjoy on Instagram, definitely leave them comments. Let them know you are a plant foldie. Let them know that we love Proven Winner Leafjoy plants because they do offer so many varieties. And so we're going to just look at some more of these H2O Leafjoy bowls. This one is a Syngonium Snow White, also known as Syngonium Milk Confetti. Look at how beautiful this is. And with Syngoniums, they are perfect plants for a hydroponic growing condition. So if you grow Syngoniums in water, you'll never have to worry about them getting angry and wanting to go to plant heaven because you've left them too dry in a soil substrate. Syngoniums like to be more on the wetter side. So an H2O leaf bowl would be perfect. Same thing with any type of Epipremnum aureum or pothos plant. I just love panning around and just showing all of these houseplants. You know, it is a beautiful late afternoon. When I went filming, you can see the golden rays of light hitting these plants. And you know, one of my favorite parts of the day are either early morning when the sun is super gentle, or late afternoon when you can see that golden light on these plants. I really love the look of it. And you know, I just love being able to go to these big box stores, really practice that mindfulness. So I know that I'm doing a voiceover and kind of talking through a lot of these plants, picking up these plants and showing you plant foldies. But when you think about just going to a big box store, if you're not wanting to spend money, just pick up some plants. Enjoy the leaf shape, the color, the foliage, the sounds of even people rustling through with their baskets as they shop. It is really a relaxing mindfulness activity that you can do that I just like it. I mean, it's mindfulness. I think that really helps with mental health. I think me just picking up my phone and just filming silently, minding my own business, really gets me grounded. And that's really important because some people may not necessarily be as aware about mental health and what that looks like in terms of self-care. But I always tell people, if you feel anxiety, it's not always, quote, stress. It is sometimes really something in your mind where you're uneasy. It's almost like that fight or flight thing. And it's okay to recognize that you have anxiety. Now, I am definitely not a therapist or a psychiatrist to be giving professional help, but I will speak on experience in a sense that the more you allow your mind to be in circles where you're like, I have anxiety, try to find something that is going to shift that negative thought. And I do think that looking at plants, enjoying just the simple routines of watering your plants, listening to the water as it hits the soil, those are activities that really help ground people. At least for me, it does. And I do think that the first step to getting better is always recognizing that there might be an opportunity where you need to get some type of help. And I had to really go through that about 2 years ago, where I wanted to just say that anxiety was fueled by stress. I didn't even think that anxiety existed. I thought that whenever I was uneasy or feeling like I just couldn't stay put, it was more of, I'm stressed. But stress is easily masked by anxiety, because anxiety is where you literally cannot control this fear, this uneasiness. And sometimes you don't know why that happens, whether it's OCD, social anxiety, or general anxiety. So I like to pepper in a couple of commentary in terms of that, because I think a lot of people dismiss mental health as something as, you can sleep it off, or you can pray it off. I think that those activities or those things can help mitigate some of that, but I think actually having tangible actions to help is another option where I feel like it's a little bit more effective. So as you can see, plant foldies, or at least listening to my big box store plant shopping video today, I've delved into a lot of content outside of just, the beautiful plants I'm showing you. And I'm hoping that those that are truly engaged in this type of content is getting some value from it. It's easy for me to go and pick up a kalanchoe, tell you the plant price, tell you the plant care tips, but there's only 365 days in a year, and there's only 365 videos I can make talking about the same subject. So I'm trying to kind of mix it up a little bit. I'm trying to make it a little bit more personal. I'm trying to make it a little bit of a separate type of content you would get, aside from maybe some of the other plant content that you would see on YouTube. So yes, I am being repetitive. Yes, I am being a little bit outside of the specific niche of my YouTube channel, but I like to kind of swim against the current a little bit. I've noticed even with the plant foldies, I've met so many of you guys, whether it's just the interactions I've had online, it's whether the interactions I see on the live premiere chats. I love the fact that it is a hangout spot for people to check in with other people that you have never physically met in person, but even those genuine interactions online, especially when it is fueled by kindness and compassion, it really does just brighten somebody's day. And hopefully for anybody that is maybe suffering from anxiety, depression, anything of that nature, or if you're just having life struggles, know that you can just sit back, relax, and look at these videos. Feel free to even mute my speaking, because I know that I do speak a lot, and maybe you are just typically here to look at the plants. I totally get that. You can hit the mute button and still just look at all of the plants I'm panning over. But for those that are listening to my dialogue today, I hope that you can take away that this is a new week. This is a week where we're going to see a lot of big box store plant shopping videos. I plan to work super hard for the plant foldies, and know that it's going to be a great week. And that is really fueled by the decisions we make and by our mindset. So it's in terms of how do we save money on houseplants, I also am going to be talking more closely about mental health wellness, physical health wellness, because the other day I did have a little bit of an episode where I just was not okay, and I understood that it was okay to not be okay, if that makes any sense. So anyways, plant foldies, for those that are here for the plant content, let me get back to that. But as you can see right here, I did pan around a huge selection of Altman Reserve succulents and rare cactus, beautiful plants. But now we are looking at the Vigoro iconic, and I say iconic in a sense that every Home Depot will always have a Vigoro hanging basket of hanging plants such as pothos. This neon pothos, for instance, is so gorgeous. My favorite pothos plants for $19.98. Like, you can't go to a Home Depot and not see this Vigoro hanging basket fixture, which is actually owned by Nature's Way. Please, if you haven't already, consider getting yourself some pothos plants. Again, this is another beginner, easy to care for plant, super easy to propagate. I've actually been chopping up a lot of my pothos so I can propagate them in water and just make some more free plants. You know, whenever you propagate plants, that's a simple way of saving money, because you're not spending any money at all on plants. You can see we've got some very lush and full golden pothos. We've got a marble queen pothos over here, and on the bottom we have that neon neon pothos. I really find that all of these pothos plants need to be in your plant collection. And then I'm just going to spin around here again and just show you some more of the succulents and cactus. Feel free to leave in the comment section what you think of these plants so far at Home Depot, what your opinion is of this Home Depot, because I would say this Home Depot, while it doesn't always have a lot of indoor tropical plants, it does have a massive, beautiful selection of outdoor garden plants. And we're going to be delving into a lot of these plants. For instance, in my grow zone, which is 8B North Dallas, you can grow vincas. Vincas are flowering plants that are very much drought tolerant and heat tolerant. They really tolerate the Texas heat. It hasn't been as hot as previous summers. I'm probably jinxing it mentioning that, but really happy that it hasn't been excruciatingly hot. It's actually been very rainy and humid, which for the plants that I'm growing outdoors, I moved all of my Aglaonemas, for the majority of them, outdoors in my back shaded patio, and they're doing amazing there. But let's go ahead, and I'm just going to show you all of these outdoor garden plants, and I'm going to start talking about some of the plants that are typically grown outdoors but can be adaptable as a house plant. So the first one up is a Coleus plant. So this one is a Coleus Wizard series. I don't know specifically what the series means, but it is a Coleus Wizard series. Look at how beautiful the pink coloration is. Coleus plants, it's either you love them or you hate them, or you just don't care for them, but I find them absolutely endearing. I love the colorful leaves, and I love the fact that in terms of high propagation success, Coleus plants have a 95%, at least for me, in my opinion, 95% chance of rooting in straight soil after taking a cutting from a plant and making sure you are consistently keeping that soil moist. That is how easy it is to propagate a Coleus plant. I also wanted to show you these beautiful flowering begonias right over here. Love how fiery red the blooms are. Now, I've never tried to grow these indoors, so plant foldies, let me know if you've actually tried to grow this particular begonia indoors and if it is adaptable as a houseplant. Super curious what your thoughts are on that. And as we look at the sea of beautiful pink balloons by these begonia, who doesn't want to grow plants, right? And so I'm going to show you this. So this is actually a surprise for me when I saw it, and I'm actually going to impulse buy a blood leaf plant. This is also one for only $3.98. This one will take full sun, but look at how beautiful the leaves are. You'll notice that the top of the leaf, or at least this plant, was chopped off, but then it just shot out 3 different growth points. This is another easy to care for plant. It does grow similar to a Coleus plant. I absolutely love the dark burgundy leaves. I think of another plant foldie that I haven't seen in a while, but is a local DFW person. I did want to say shout out to Rose. Rose, if you end up watching this video, we miss you on the live premiere chats. I really hope you are doing well. Rose absolutely loves red plants, and I think of her when I see the blood leaf plant. $5.98, you can get a six-pack tray of different types of Coleus plants, which I think is a really good value. So if you want to start a little Coleus collection, you can see that this one has many different varieties. Some of them are a little bit similar looking than others, but as far as Coleus plants, very easy to care for plants, bright, colorful plants that you can adapt as an indoor house plant, and you can grow these long-term indoors. I would recommend somebody trying to grow these plants. I really do think that Coleus plants are not only beautiful, colorful, easy to care for, budget friendly, but they are a little bit of a unique type of plant. You know, when I think about other content creators on YouTube that I watch, there's one that really inspires me, and his name is Benji Plants. And the reason why I like Benji Plants is he really merges the beauty of style and plants, and also looks at more unique plants that some people would not grow as an indoor plant. I remember he was talking about geraniums growing indoors, and I thought that was interesting. So as far as Coleus plants, I mean, take a look at this. This one I'm also tempted to buy. I think it's only for $19.98, but there are many, there's 3 different varieties of Coleus plants. I think we have a Coleus wasabi, which is this green plant right here. It does look like wasabi. And then we also had that purple grayish looking one. I really like the look of that. But you know, Coleus plants, they can get a little bit leggy, but if you chop them back, they shoot different shoots. So plant foldies, let me know in the comment section if you would consider growing a Coleus plant like this one, for instance, indoors as a house plant. I would love for you guys to hashtag popularize Coleus, or actually become a plant foldie plant, something that we would all try to grow in our plant collections. Leave that in the comments section. Again, they're super easy to grow. You can grow them from seed, or better yet, just go to a big box store like Home Depot and buy yourself a Coleus plant. You know, you can find one for about $1.98, but if you go to Home Depot, you can get 6 for $5.98. You can see that the leaves have a velvety texture. They have nice veining. They have different types of colors, and you know, this is a plant that people will just consider as like a landscape patio plant. But what about taking those indoors and then having somebody go in your house and be like, oh, this is a unique, colorful plant. It's not necessarily one that you would expect to be grown as a house plant. So I'm gonna just pan around here and show you some more Coleus plants. Feel free to leave in the comment section what you think of them, and hopefully I can inspire you to possibly grow one in your plant collection. you saw the sea of Coleus plants, we're going to go back and just take a look at some of these Altman Reserve rare cactus and succulents. For my plant foldies that love rare cactus and succulents, I think of Trish, who's also a local plant foldie that really loves succulents and cactus, euphorbias. Kathy from Canada, I already know you love some succulents and cactus. So I'm going to pan around here and basically show you these rare and uncommon ones. I don't know the varieties very well, so I'm not even going to try to give you the variety names. Just know that certain ones like this, for instance, this aloe vera looks super cool. I love how it's got a very light color to it, and didn't even realize that there are many varieties of aloe vera aside from just the medicinal one that we typically see. This one is really cool, and I would actually add this one to my plant collection if I were in the hunt, but I've already done 2 impulse buys and I intend to buy that Aglaonema Silver Bay. But anyways, plant foldies, enjoy the succulents and cactus selection here. I will say that Home Depot has a really good selection in terms of these plants. super full outdoor garden section at Home Depot. You know, Home Depot has some of the best garden section out there, and even though lantana are not plants I would really recommend to grow as an indoor plant, simply because it really does need like 6 to 8 hours of full sun. I did want to show you that for anybody that is looking for a heat tolerant, drought tolerant blooming plant. Try yourself a lantana. In my grow zone, it's considered a perennial, and I am so excited. I am very surprised to find a blood leaf plant at Home Depot. Sometimes you will find them, sometimes you won't. $3.98. They have trays of them here, and so I will definitely buy one just because I really want to grow this long term indoors. For this plant though, the only challenge is to really increase the amount of light you give it if it is going to grow indoors. So this one may need to grow under a grow light, but it is a beautiful plant. I mean, look at that beautiful red tone. It really does look like a deep blood color. So for those that like a gothic look for a plant, this is here. And you can see right here, look at how the top of the plant was chopped off. And as soon as it's chopped off, you can see that it'll push out more growth points. And so it'll get even more bushy as you pinch and prune it back. I plan to cut mine back, whichever one I choose, and propagate a separate plant. That's the thing about plants for me. Sometimes it's not always about just growing the plant just to grow the plant. I love finding plants that have a high propagation chance, because I also like to give joy by giving plants that I propagate out to others. So the blood leaf is another plant that I would recommend as an outdoor plant that can be adaptable as a house plant. It is very easy to care for, especially if you're growing these outdoors. You can just have an outdoor sprinkler system, water it, and you are good to go. And the fact that you can put this in full sun really helps out, because some plants you have to really look at the shade conditions you put when you put them outdoors. But blood leaf, it is one of those plants that has such a vibrant, deep red tone, and I just love the veining. Feel free to leave in the comment section, plant foldies, what you think of this plant, whether you would try to grow one of these today or look for one and try to make it as an indoor house plant for your plant collection. Plant foldies, you already know this is not a grow fold plant shopping video if I don't say Hydra Helix. Say it with me, plant foldies, Hydra Helix. Or the correct way to say it with me as well, Hedera Helix, or the English ivy. You can see that these ones are by Vigoro Plants, and they are available for purchase. You know, this is really considered more of an outdoor plant. Some people will say this is ground cover, but I just really wouldn't recommend growing this as ground cover because it is super invasive unless it's going to be in a flower bed or someplace where it is trapped to where it's not going to take over your lawn. It is a beautiful plant. Shout out to Kathy in Canada again for still continuing the Hydra Helix Challenge 2025. She's been able to successfully grow in English ivy indoors since March, which is amazing because we already know that English ivy is very susceptible to spider mites. Now I'm going to go over here and just show you one of my favorite plants, one that I am really debating on whether I should try to adapt as an indoor house plant, and that is the Proven Winners Leafjoy Caladium series. The Proven Winners Heart to Heart series. Look at this beautiful plant, large foliage right here. This is called the Blushing Bride, and another plant foldie that is growing a beautiful Proven Winners Heart to Heart Caladium is Planty Buds, also known as Eric from Minnesota. I love the fiery red one he has. And, you know, it's one of those things where I'm curious if he will actually try to grow that as an indoor houseplant when winter comes. Now, the thing about caladiums is that they do go dormant. So if you're going to grow a caladium indoors or try to adapt it as an indoor houseplant, you are going to need to provide it lots of bright indirect light. And more so, you need to make sure you put it in an area that doesn't get too cold, because it's going to signify that the plant might need to go dormant. It's kind of the same thing with like alocasia. So, you know, more of a humid, warm environment with bright light is really going to keep these plants active and growing. And, you know, caladiums, they're beautiful. Some people find their colors a little bit jarring, but I like festive, colorful leaves. And that's a reason why I love Aglaonema. I love croton plants. I love Coleus plants, and I love caladiums because they have such beautiful colors on their leaves. You can see how delicate the leaves are. So these caladiums, the Proven Winner Leaf hybrids, are a little bit more drought tolerant and a little bit more tolerant when it comes to getting a little bit more light. Typically, caladiums need to be in a more shaded environment, otherwise their leaves will burn. But let me just go ahead and walk around and show you what caladiums they have, whether it's the Proven Winners Heart to Heart caladiums or the Vigoro caladiums that they have. And as I always mention, I would recommend Miracle-Gro All-Purpose Plant Fertilizer. This is a great plant product to use, and it's only for $11.97. But let me just give you some really full pans of these beautiful caladiums. Another plant that is really considered more of an outdoor garden plant is a Japanese Aralia. This one is a beautiful one that can be adapted as an indoor house plant. That one, I haven't had the best luck because it does get a little bit more spider mite prone, but if you're able to maintain higher levels of humidity to repel spider mites, then it will work. And then you can see right here, we've got indoor plants that are adaptable as better grown outdoors. We've got a bunch of pothos plants, and I'm just gonna go continue to walk around and just show you how many beautiful plants they have, both indoor and outdoor, that they have here. You see we've got more Coleus plants, some geraniums, and so I'm just going to pick up some more of these plants. Again, Coleus plants are awesome to grow as an indoor house plant. Let me know in the comment section, plant foldies, what you think, and I'm just going to keep looking at some of these plants, show you some of these before I wrap up this plant shopping video today. foldies. I hope you guys have enjoyed a lot of the plants I've shown you today, a lot of the conversation aside from just plants. You can see right over here, this is my plant haul. So I'm getting an Aglaonema Silver Bay, a Ficus Elastica Ruby. As always, please consider joining my YouTube membership tier. It definitely helps with the sustainability of this YouTube channel. It helps with some of the passive income I hope to garner from making this type of content. But as you can see, that is my shopping haul. As always, my name is Richie at GrowFolds. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel with all the notification bell on. And if you look on the side of the screen, please click on the videos that are popping up on the screen. Binge watch some of these videos. I hope to see you guys throughout the week with brand new big box or plant shopping videos. It has been fun to actually take you shopping today. I'll see you on the next one.